The one, the only, Matt Griffin's in the house.
All right, all right, all right.
What's going on, buddy?
Nothing, man. Feels good to be here.
I'll tell you, I'm glad you came today, man.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this,
I
man.
put the bat signal up, and you were like, I'm here.
I responded. Let's do this.
So what's going on, man? What do you got for a drink today?
Just a little Seagram's and a little special Ploof punch
Nice.
going on right now, but just trying to stay hydrated.
You know, it's not easy nowadays. Well, actually, it is. It's a little too easy
It
nowadays.
is. It is.
I have my Heineken 00.
I loving it.
So, cheers. Here's to the first podcast.
Salud.
The first You Can't Handle the Ploof.
I'm loving that title.
You know, I'll tell you something, man.
Who won the contest?
That was Frank Sanchez. He used to work with me, or work for me a long time ago.
So it was rigged. Is that what you're saying?
No. You know, it's funny. I struggled with that name. I struggled with because you want it to be catchy. You want it to be...
You struggle with the name of the show, not the name Ploof.
Right.
Okay.
Just the name of the show, yeah.
Just want to make that clear.
Dude, this name goes back for years and years, man. You know that. I'll fix my headphone here. Yeah, I know. So when I threw it out there, actually, that doesn't sound too good. I knew as people started going, and I put the header up. Don't use this name, and everybody was using that name like crazy, man. So this is where we're at, and I think everything happens for a reason. So, it was a journey through this. I've wanted to actually do this for a couple of years now.
Okay.
And
what made you decide?
So I'm a big Joe Rogan podcast fan. Like, I love Joe Rogan. I think really what it boils down to is I think that people have lost the art of communication and sitting down and talking with each other.
Right.
People are caught up in politics. When you meet somebody for the first time and you have this connection, and then later on that you find out that maybe they're on the left or the right, and then next thing you know, they don't want anything to do with each other, right? But we forget about that connection that we had in the beginning.
Sure.
So I'm trying to bring that back, and I'm trying to let people know that it's okay to have different views.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what makes this country great.
Exactly.
And that we can have those views and still remain friends at the end of the day.
Right.
And if anybody doesn't know this, me and this guy go way back to junior high. We've been...
Bellamy, Edward Bellamy Middle School, Chicopee, Mass.
In the house. I'll tell you, that was a rough time for me at the beginning of that school, man. I got bullied a little bit there with, I don't want to really say his name on the air, but, then I stayed back. That was a little rough.
Yeah, but you left in a good class, though.
I did.
Think about it.
I did. I learned to finally do my schoolwork and actually show up to school, so that was a good thing. But having friends like you guys, and kind of like losing all my other friends that I had that were getting me nowhere, kind of realigning with you guys, and we had ourselves the unit,
right?
And we did everything together.
Yeah. And
there wasn't a night on a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that we weren't together.
No, we have a nice circle. Our circle is tight, and everybody looks out for each other, man.
Yeah, I mean, we had some crazy times, man. Thank God for no cell phones back then.
Yeah, no, and not really gonna say too much of that stuff tonight. But.
It's funny, man. You're like one of the most positive people that I know. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen you mad, honest to God.
Well, you probably have. I do get mad, and people that know me do know that I do get mad. One of my alter egos is the Hulk.
Yeah. But also Superman.
True. But I try to help people along the way. I try not to get too angry. So I get a little bit of both. But no, man, you gotta stay positive, man. There's so much that, we're all human beings. We've lost people. We've grown up. We've took some L's. We've took some W's. But, I mean, we're still going.
Yeah.
And we live in the most powerful nation in the world. Let's just, say that. We live in the most powerful nation in the world. And what's not to be positive about?
Right.
You wake up every day, you breathe, you put 2 feet down. Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
You have to be positive.
Yeah.
You got to look on the bright side.
I think you're right, man. It's all about helping people. I've learned as I get older that, what I do for work now is I try to be that positive role model and to help people with their business. And it's not easy sometimes. You can only lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. You can't, some people just don't see the vision that I see. But being patient, working with those people day in and day out, starting to build that rapport and letting them know it's okay. One of my biggest things I say, you have to be uncomfortable to be comfortable.
True.
Right? And,
True.
And you know as well as I do, being uncomfortable sometimes hurts.
Right.
And you just want to curl up and,
exactly.
hide under a rock for a little while. But the reality is we got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings me to another point, like, growing up, like talk about you guys and how we grew up, and, we didn't come from these extravagant lifestyles. You know what I mean?
No.
You came from a pretty big family, and I did after my mom got remarried. And so, I think we relied on each other a lot back when we were kids to do the right thing and keep each other positive. And, and I couldn't dance as well as you could, but
hey,
at least I showed up.
Trust me, back then, man, I couldn't dance, I couldn't dress. I'll be the first to admit it, man.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. So being a role model, I think that transcended to where you are now, So, you could tell the YouTube world, you're a coach.
Yep.
So being a mentor is a huge thing. I love when I watch your Instagram or your Facebook and I see the kids reaching out to you and the positive things they say.
Right.
I mean, you can't put a price tag on that.
Mm-hmm.
And, where you've uplifted these kids, so how'd you ever get started in doing that?
Well, it's again, like, just like you had started off saying, it's with a lot of the people that you're surrounded with. One thing that I say to the kids is, show me your circle, I'll show you your future.
Yep.
And our circle growing up, very positive. We all looked out for each other. Our families all looked out for each other. And what I do now as a coach, my first coach is my dad. My dad.
Shout out to him.
I think most of Western Mass knows my dad. And he has always been a positive person. And once you start with that, and a lot of other coaches that I've had, going into high school coaches, positive role models. When I was in college, another coach, positive role model for me. And once you start to have a lot of those people in your lives, once you figure out, one, what you're going to do with your life, you really start to use that to help others. And, again, a lot of the kids, I'm working on my 20 plus years of coaching.
Wow.
High school kids, boys and girls.
That's huge.
So educating and being a role model, being positive, these kids are still growing, these kids are still maturing, is you got to look out for them.
Right.
And you got to make sure that they're all doing the right thing. You yourself got to do the right thing, but also make sure that these kids are doing the right thing. And a lot of the things that I post or things that I talk about, motivational, somebody might see a message that, hey, they had a bad day, something might have happened. They might see something that might lift them up a little bit.
Right.
I've talked to kids 20 years ago that I still talk to today that, hey, you need something, let me know, reach out. If you need an ear or you need something to say, I'm always here.
Yeah.
And I think that's just how we all grew up, knowing how our families were, how people we've been around. We're just using what we know and giving it to others around us.
Yeah. One of the things that I always puts a smile on my face, we don't get to see each other a lot, as you are one busy individual.
Well, you're busy too, man.
now I am.
You're the one traveling around everywhere.
Not anymore, man. After COVID, it has definitely put a hamper on my my fun, I'll tell you. And, I had this fear of flying, right? I'm not even begin to tell you how bad it was. Like, I would vomit in the bathroom in the airport before I got on a plane.
I hear you.
And that is no joke. And this job that I'm at now really kind of, in a way, forced me to kind of overcome that fear.
Right.
And, I've been on something like the high 30s for plane rides. And now I almost fall asleep when I'm on a plane. Not quite there yet, but when those big bumps hit, I'm one of those white knucklers.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap, man. I'm with you. I'm scared. I'm scared of heights.
Oh, me too.
So
yeah,
let's start right there.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I understand. I could be sleeping, and as soon as you
bring
feel
us
that,
a little bit closer to you.
as soon as you feel that bump,
There you go.
It's don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I've had a kid sitting next to me, and they're like, "Oh, look at that! Oh, that." No, just no.
Yeah, and I think half my fears too is I'm not behind the wheel, and I drive all day for work, and so I'm used to being that person behind the wheel. I'm not a control freak, but I like that feeling of if something happens, I can control it. But I have to understand that these guys have way more experience than I could ever think of having. They go for extra training. It doesn't matter at the end of the day for me because every little bump, I think we're going down.
Right. But they got it. Who's ever the captain, who's ever the pilots, they got it, man.
Yeah.
They know. I mean, they did their training.
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, it's crazy to say it, but because we're still scared, but they got it.
Yeah. In the last plane ride I took, Star Wars was playing. It was a solo. So I wanted to watch because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. One of these days I'm gonna have my my Boba Fett helmet out here. We tried to place it out here today, but it didn't make any sense.
I dig. Yeah, man.
I think it was on the pictures I put on the Facebook though.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna put it behind here. We'll have some stuff on there, and it'll start to take shape. I have this fear of being on camera. I don't like to hear myself, my nasally voice. So I'm gonna make an apology now that if it sounds like my fingers are on my nose, and I don't like to see myself, but this is something I've wanted to do in last year, and you can respect this. We both lost a parent. Yep. Mine was passed last year. And my dad thought he had X amount of years to live, and shortly after his diagnosis, he ended up passing away within 6 months. So, and I want to say he had 5 to 7 years is what they told him, something like that. So I remember sitting down with him like 3 days before he passed, and he said to me, he goes, time is not on your side as much as you think you do, and especially when you're young, you think you're invincible, and all these things happen, but yet at the end of the day, time is a blink of an eye.
Exactly.
So he asked me, he goes, well, what do you want to do? What's something you haven't done yet that you really want to do? And I said, Dad, I really want to start a podcast. I just feel like I want to start bringing people together somehow and having these conversations. And yeah, some of them are going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay.
Right.
But, it's how we get through those conversations. And, so he said, so what are you waiting for? And I was like, what am I waiting for?
When Pop says that, man, that's when it gets you.
So I said, the gears started moving. I started getting in, diving more into podcasts, seeing what they're like, what they hear what they sound like. And then, by the way, before I forget, shout out to Justin, my kid. He's here.
Justin.
Being my IT guy over there looking stuff up. This is really cool, too, that I get to spend this kind of time with him.
Justin, I remember before you were born.
Yeah.
Before you were born. Lord.
When he was a sparkle in my beer glass.
Yes.
Here's to you, buddy.
Over 26 years ago.
Imagine that, 26 years ago.
Yeah.
I had to call my mother. Actually, I went over there to tell her. And, she wasn't real happy about it. She wasn't overly sad about it either. But she said, if you want to play, you have to pay. And so now you need to find your own place to live. So that was a little bit hard to handle, but I did it, and I think it was definitely a different time back then too.
Yeah.
I did work 2 full-time jobs at one point.
Yeah.
And it was easier back then. I think money went a little bit further.
Right. Right.
Unfortunately, me and his mom didn't make it, but we've been best friends since the day, and you know how much she means to me in my life, and we moved out to where we are to be closer to her and help out, and so to kind of circle back a little bit, having him with us today, and he's going to be a permanent person. He'll be on the podcast soon too. But I think, as a parent, that's pretty cool that I get to spend some time with him doing stuff like this. And
it's the best times, man.
Yeah.
It's always good.
Now, how
Always
old's
good.
your oldest now?
Oldest is 20.
Wow,
Yeah,
20 years old.
yeah. Son will be 18 November. The youngest just turned 12 yesterday. So,
Wow.
this spread out, but they're keeping us busy, man.
So how was that the first time you found out that you were gonna have a kid? What was that like?
Well, when I first found out I was gonna have a kid, man, I'm smiling because that's what you think about. You think about that joy. At the time, I mean, who knows? It could be a boy, it could be a girl. You don't know.
Sure.
But when you find out, I mean, when she comes back, hey, guess what? You need a job, when he comes back and you find out it's joy.
Yeah.
That you're gonna have a family. Then obviously when you find out boy or girl, I mean, doesn't in a lot of books it don't matter, but as men, you think, oh, I got a son, he's gonna do this and he's gonna do this, he's gonna do this, and all these different things that we talk about, but it's just pure joy, man.
Yeah.
That you have a family, that you're gonna raise somebody, that you offspring and grandparents and uncles and aunts, and you're gonna go to cookouts, and things change.
Sure.
Everything that you do and everything that it changes. You can't think about yourself anymore.
Right.
And Justin, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I knew you before you were born, but I remember always hanging out with this guy, and he would always say, if we were out somewhere, he's like, I got a son. He's like, I got a son coming. I can't, let's, I won't say let's not get in trouble, but he would always be thinking ahead that, hey, I have a son that I got to be thinking about. I can't be thinking about myself anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the things that you think about. You think about what your kid's future is gonna be, and what's gonna happen, and what are you guys gonna do? What do you got planned? What's Christmas gonna be like?
Right.
What's Thanksgiving gonna be like? What's Halloween? Costumes and things. It's the little things.
Yeah.
But it matters, man.
Yeah. It's amazing how you like how resilient you are. Like I remember shitting my pants for the first couple of weeks. Literally. And then saying, all right, let's go. Like I don't have time to worry about this. Like I gotta come down with a plan. I remember sitting down with his mom saying I gotta get a second job. So I was working 2 full-time jobs, and I worked 7 to 3 and then 4 to 12. And pretty much I did a lot of things. I worked with an electrician. I did security work. I worked at a department store.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I remember those days, man.
And that, I seen some of my friends who were, one of the things I was always jealous about some people were that they were able to go to college, and I don't regret anything, because I could have went to college. I could have went when I met my wife, and, she was already done with college, and, I don't know if college was for me. I was more of like, let's get into work, and I excelled pretty good,
Yeah.
So circling back to the mentor, who was your first mentor?
My father.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
I could, no questions asked. Like, that's number one in the books.
Yeah. He would always take time out no matter where we were. Like, so when he worked at the department store and I was working upstairs, I would always come downstairs for my lunch, a couple times a month, 2-3 times a month, and I go look for him.
Right.
And then, he always would sit down with you and talk to you for minutes. Always took the time out to see how you were doing. And, especially when you saw him around town, because my last job, I saw him quite a bit.
Yep.
And every time I yelled from across the way, and he... Yep. Come on over and say hi, So he was definitely a role model for the rest of us too. I mean, somebody who just loved you. He loved you unconditionally, no matter who you were.
Yeah.
He just always had a smile.
It didn't matter, and knowing my father, you knew him, and Chicopee knew my father, and kind of give you a little background. Actually, my father actually when coaching football, he had the first female football player in Chicopee.
No way.
Play
Wow.
for him.
That's amazing.
And this is like, 1970s. So, go research and do your history with women in sports. How many women are playing football in the 70s?
Sure.
I mean, look at right now.
Right.
How many women back in the 70s were playing football? He had the first woman, so it didn't matter if you were male, female, black, white, Hispanic, where you came from, what city you were from or whatever. He always looked out for you. And
right.
I think that just kind of resonated with, obviously with us and just everybody that he interacted with. And
yeah.
I mean, seriously, you see him in the mall, you see him at, on Helene's, or you see him driving around, or you come to the house.
Yeah.
He's going to greet you. He's going to say hello. He's going to ask how you doing.
Sure.
I mean, you see him right now, he's going to ask you how you doing.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely. That's number one in my book.
Who's number two?
Number two, yes. I can stay at home and say my mother, just on a different level, because my mother did things that my father didn't do. You think my dad's gonna show me how to fish, show me how to drive, and all this stuff. My mother did.
Did she really?
My mother showed me how to fish. My mother showed me how to drive. But my parents were actually still, they were working parents. So if one didn't do this, the other would take care of it.
Right.
Two older brothers, going on vacation. We went on vacation sometimes. Hey, if my father couldn't make it, my mother would still take us.
Right.
If my mother couldn't make it, my father would still take us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I number two, definitely I would say my mother. 2A, I'll be honest, was my college football coach.
Nice.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
Just turned 90 this year.
90 years
He's
old.
Not still coaching.
That's okay. That's okay. Put his dues in.
But he turned 90 this year, and I think just as me as a man growing up, college, sports, what he does, how he was professionally, how he communicated, there's still things that he did as a coach, whether it's talking to people, how he did business. I still use that to this day.
Nice.
And I played for him 20-some years ago.
Amazing.
So,
it's amazing what they instill in you, and then, that little bits and pieces of them kind of come out as you go through life.
Yeah.
And for me, it was I have three people that were amazing in my life.
Who's number one?
So, from a work environment, and I don't know why. Like I revert back to work. Like it's a weird thing, but so Jim Buckley was number one. I met him first.
Mm-hmm.
Not having a college education, especially in the field that I was in, wasn't a deal breaker by any means. There was a lot of people without a college degree, but you had to work a lot harder because as they were hiring people with a college degree, right? So, I got to work the longer hours. I got to outsmart these people. He started teaching me how to think a little bit smarter and how to think about the big picture. It got me into what made a successful department and, about sales and everything. And then he helped me get into this thing called the Executive and Training Program, which was a fast track to being a store manager. So I went against 189 people for just a couple positions, and I got it. So I got to meet another guy named Joe Musa. And Joe actually ended up being like my dad. And he, these two guys, great guys. We get together, and every Wednesday night we go out drinking at the good old Hoogie Lao, if everybody knows what that is. I miss that place, man. I'll tell you, those people that own it are probably the most respectful, decent people that I've ever known.
It's the Yee family?
Yep. The dad, I just remember him sitting behind that counter all the time. Always had a smile. All the boys, that was one of the very few places that I couldn't wait to get to.
Yeah.
Just to see them.
Have you ever had a bad night at Tokyo?
Never. Not once.
Never.
Not once. And as a matter of fact, it's the bartender is the reason why me and my wife got together. I think he got her drunk enough where I started to look good, and then she's like, "All right, I'm in." And so those two guys were definitely they kind of set my career off. And then Joe went on to Michael's, and then ended up getting me in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? I got one more guy. Clint Hanley.
The list, it's when you
kinda,
really think about it, yeah, man.
Yep. So Clint Hanley, I don't ever get to see him very often, but he's always in my mind. We there was a point that we were seeing each other every year, but life gets busy, man. And
Yeah.
but shout out to Clint Hanley. Don't think I don't think about you, because I do. And then I think the guy that kind of topped it off for me was Kevin Walsh. Um, I wasn't with him for a long time, but I remember I went through it was like 5 or 6 DMs in a very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes Kevin walking in. In my mind, I'm thinking, "Hey, nice to meet you, but I'm gonna meet the next guy.
Yeah.
In a couple months, because that's the route we were going down." And he's like, "I'm not going anywhere." And they put this guy through the ringer for the first couple months he was with the company, and he definitely drank out of the fire hose for sure.
Yeah.
But he had such a unique way of managing that kind of made me perk up a little bit. Like he could get you to do things
Right.
with a little bit of comedy mixed in, a little bit of sarcasm mixed in, but I never really felt like he was demeaning me at all.
Right.
It'd be like he would touch that nerve just enough
Mm-hmm.
to let you understand what he was trying to do.
He knew how to work with people.
Yeah. And he worked with a lot. We have, of course, when you deal with this many people, you have all these different personalities, right? And that was always a challenge for me sometimes because I'm a type A personality and I'm trying to manage these stores, and my way isn't always the best way, but I'm trying to keep everybody on the same page in the same direction. And he would come into my store to do my walkthrough, and he would just have this way about him. And I literally told him one day that I would follow him into hell if that's where we were going. And the company started getting a little wacky for me, and unfortunately I had to leave. And shortly thereafter, the company restructured dramatically.
Yeah.
So I would have had to end up telling a lot of people that they were losing their job. So I was also a mentor there. I was part of the district mentor program. So I was handpicked to be a mentor, to mentor new people coming in. We had a history of hiring people and putting them in bad situations, and then they would leave.
Right.
So our turnover rate was through the roof.
Jeez.
And he was a great mentor to me. And I eventually left the company, and which was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. I didn't have a problem leaving the company so much as I had a problem leaving him. I don't think to this day that he knows what he did for me. I tried to reach out a few times after that. We're friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I still use some of the ways of mentoring and stuff to this day, right?
Yeah.
And I always find myself doing, like, if I'm trying to do something, I always say, what would Kevin tell me to do, or what would Joe tell me to do,
Right.
what would Jim tell me to do, or Clint tell me to do. So I was pretty lucky to have these people in my life in order to get me where I had to go.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, the last company I worked for before where I'm at now, it was good for a long time, and then the integrity wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I had to go do what I'm doing now. But I think that's so important, what you do and how you because I'll go back a little bit, right? I'll go back to the Bellevue days. So Mr. Ozatek.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
When I stayed back, I end up being in his science class again.
Mm-hmm.
And the year before that, I just fell asleep I didn't care. Well, as we were walking out the door, he put his arm around my shoulder and he said to me, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna get you out of my class so you don't have to go through my class again. And I looked at him. I said, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the same kid I was last year. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. I said, can we stay after class? I want to tell you some things. So I told him I was going through my parents getting divorced and all that stuff. And he's like, all right, man, I'll give you another shot, And I remember clear as day to this day, a few months after, when school started again, he came up to me. He's like, I'm so proud of you. You're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
And so I realized, I had to be good in school.
Right.
I had to do the right thing. Even though I don't care what was going on in my personal life,
Mm-hmm.
I had to take care of school. I wanted my mom to be proud,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I just did it. I put my work in,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the thing. I think that people don't, and you'll respect this because when we coach, people got to put the work in.
Yeah. And look at this. This is what 20 plus years later. The fact that somebody took time out of their day, reached out to you,
Yep.
to build you up, build your confidence up, to look out for you, and you're still remembering that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what matters, and that's why. I mean, a lot of teachers and coaches. I mean, whoever it is.
Yeah.
But reaching out to when you were a youth, to build you up and to build your spirits up, keep you positive, keep your confidence up. That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, like where I work now, you know, my boss is amazing. She's been in this business for tons of years, and she's another one that pushes me.
Right.
You know, sometimes when I'll say something, she's like, "If you were a manager, what would you say?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh man, that puts a new spin on it." You know, I don't want to have to use my head all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it makes sense, and I try to bring that to everyday life. You know, like so. You know, kudos to you for stepping up to the plate and being that person, because I think we need more people. You know, like we're in a crazy world right now, man. Like
it is.
Who would have thought a year ago, like if I said to you, Matt, come over here, I want to talk to you. It's going to be a pandemic next year. Everybody's going to hate each other.
Shoot.
What do you think?
I'll tell you. Even I hope it's not too funny, but funnier story in February, man. In the classroom where I'm at, I had some of my athletes come in and we talk, and you know, I always have open door policy with my athletes, and we were talking about a few things, and this is when COVID first started happening, and of course, just like every other American, you sat there and said, "Oh, this thing is happening in Asia."
Right.
We're in America. This is the USA. This stuff is never gonna come over here. Stuff doesn't hit here. You know, and I said that. I said, we live in the United States. Like, this is not going to come over here. I said, we're in Massachusetts. Same thing, like it's not going to be here. And then you look at all the stats and all the things that are going on, and it's like, this person's not doing this. You got to wash your hands. You got to do this. Then you start to think, who's not washing their hands?
Right.
Who's using the bathroom and not washing their hands? You know?
You'd be surprised.
And but that was part of our
right.
That was part of our conversation.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, there's people not washing hands, and then there's people not taking care of themselves, and then it's after a few weeks go by, and then the wave starts coming over, and then it's Asia, then it's Europe, and then, you know, all of a sudden we were sitting in the school. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we had a meeting on a Wednesday. 2 days later, we got the call or the email that said,
"Shut down."
You know, like John Taffer said, "Shut it down."
Yep.
Shut it down. And all of a sudden it was, I think this was around spring break. So It was, shut it down. Got spring break. We'll come back to it. You know, we'll see what's going on. We'll come back. Like, we'll be back in school. Nope. And then all of a sudden, sports were shut off for the schools.
Shit got weird.
Yeah. You know, kids are staying at home, you know, learning. So it was a whole new thing for America, man.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought? I mean, like you said, last year, if you would have said, you're not going to school next year, or your first day of school picture is going to be you sitting on a couch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Nobody would have said, nobody thought that, man.
Yeah.
You can't go to, you go on cruises every year. You can't go on a cruise. You can't go to the beach. You can't go to the Big E.
You like going on cruises.
We do like going on cruises, man. You can't go to the Big E. You can't get your Rhode Island clam fritters and your baked potato and all that stuff. Can't do it.
Right.
So all these things, man, last year, come on, man.
Did you freak out a little bit at first?
At first, no. Again, like I seriously, I thought, again, probably as 90% of America thought, nothing gonna happen to us.
Yep.
We'll be fine. But then as things started getting a little deeper, I mean, our concerns, the kids, family, parents,
Yeah.
Older people that you're around, jobs. Then it started getting a little difficult.
Yeah.
But people, I know people are losing their minds. People are just, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't go to the beach. I can't go to the Big E. I can't go on a cruise.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still walking around. You're still doing your thing.
Yeah.
Now I think things have gotten a little better. I mean, I know the whole school situation is a whole different thing going on right now. Sports is a whole different thing going around. But at first, shoot, I thought we were fine.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be this long. We're the same age, so
right.
Growing up, we never really had things that, pandemics. What's a pandemic? You can ask 10 people on the street right now what's a pandemic. They couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
They can't even spell pandemic right now.
What do you mean, like the Black Plague? Back all the way then?
That's what I'm saying.
Spanish flu,
you read about it, in classes. We read about all these different things, but you don't think it's going to happen. But you hope that, I didn't take those classes in school, so I'm not a doctor.
Right.
So hopefully somebody finds, something.
Yeah.
Figure this out.
I was good at first, and then my company said, you guys are going to work remotely. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I can handle that. Right. Well, then I walk into my first grocery store, and it was just to pick up a few things. In the pandemonium that was going on, I was shocked. Like, I had to take a step.
It's
I was
nuts,
like, whoa.
Man.
And
yes.
Then you started seeing how everybody was elevated. Like, the tension, you could cut it with a knife, and you saw people yelling at each other.
It's Armageddon.
Yeah.
It's everything, all those apocalyptic movies that we watched and you saw, you heard about, all these different things, the Titanic and all that stuff. That's what it became, man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You go to the grocery store and you can't get toilet paper?
Yeah.
You got to stock up. Stock up on what?
And I got lucky. So the week before, I went to Dollar General, and I was in there, and I got like an 18-pack or whatever it was. And I don't even think we really even needed it. I'm like, 18, it'll get me, at least a couple weeks. So I'm like, I'll grab a couple more. And I walked out of there with like 4 of them, just in case, right? Well, sure enough, the next day, I started hearing a lot of rumbling about TP. So I'm like, I'm going to go back there just to see. I go back there, it's gone.
Gone.
So I don't know what made me go in there that day. But then it started through the grocery stores, the eggs, the meat, the milk. And you would think in the society that we live in now, that those things won't happen. But I'll tell you, if this can shut it down, what happens if they knock out the power grid or they do, whatever?
Hey.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
And, so I started, because I have this thing I always say, I can only control my reaction, right? So if I'm having a bad day or whatever that is, I can only control my reaction. So I started to really kind of look out for the next person, right?
Yep.
And do you guys need anything? And I think like our circle, started to kind of reach out a little bit more.
And we
like,
did. And we did. We
Yep.
texted around and we said, hey, you guys good? Do you need anything? Whatever. Family okay? And, that's what you got to do, man.
Yeah. As being a man, we feel this need to protect, and I felt like I could not, like, this weird kind of like, am I going to be able to protect them from this? Because first of all, I can't see it. It's not like I can go out there and fight the German in the street, be like, all right, let's bring it to the streets.
Yeah,
it's not happening. And the information changed. And for me, I had a cousin that lives in Italy, and she was posting a bunch of stuff, and people were just dropping like flies, man.
Yeah, that's right, because Italy.
Yep. Yeah. And so I have this preconceived notion of what it's going to be like when it gets here, and she held it together phenomenally. She's a great mom, 2 kids. Her husband's probably one of the most awesome people I've ever met. When my grandfather passed away, he was one of the pallbearers that kind of like the last minute. Mm-hmm. And I think my grandfather would have been super proud knowing that another military guy, was one of his pallbearers. And so I knew she, like physically, she was going to be fine. he's a great protector.
Right.
But you see all this stuff falling apart around them, and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to deal with that here. We both have elderly parents,
Yeah.
semi-elderly parents, and so my father's not around anymore to take care of my mother, so now I got to deal with that. We help my son's mother out all the time, so I have that on my shoulders now. So there's all these different things going on.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I walked out in the yard one night and I had what I would consider like a small panic attack. And nothing crazy, just I had to really kind of reset my brain and say, okay, it's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's get back to work.
Right.
What do I need to do?
Right.
So took a little bit of money out of the bank just in case. Started putting all these things in place. So
Right.
I think that comfort level came back a little bit.
Yeah.
And my work was great. I didn't have to miss a beat with a paycheck, so that part was fine. And then, this whole thing morphs into where we are today. And, are we going to find a cure for this thing? I don't know. But, I'm a big numbers guy.
Right.
And it seemed like the numbers were weird. Like they kept saying it's to this level.
Yeah.
And then we started hearing things like they're people who die from something else but have they test positive for COVID. They're calling it a COVID death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to mince those numbers.
Yeah.
Like if those numbers are what they are, then fine, that's what they are.
Right.
But when you start tainting things,
Yeah.
you lose me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I think something else is going on, and because we can go down the rabbit hole of
Right.
conspiracy theories.
And then you always look at, okay, you put up some numbers, you post some numbers up somewhere. You're gonna have a bunch of people looking at it and be like, oh, you know what Jeff said? Oh, yeah, I saw these numbers. It could be real, it could be not.
Right.
And that's the other part about it is everybody sees something. I mean, I'm not we're not doctors. I don't know. That's why they get paid the big bucks to do their jobs.
Yep.
Sometimes you see stuff on TV or you see stuff posted. Is it real? Is it not? You don't know, but you still got to actually do the research behind it before you're quick to, somebody will see something and be like, oh my God, there was 100 deaths in Palmer yesterday from COVID. And you're like, no, there wasn't.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Do the research
right
before you can, because that same person could see it and be, oh my God, look.
Yeah.
And then it goes right down the telephone line, and then, that's why people got to realize not everything they see is true. So with all these numbers and things like that, hopefully they figure something out.
Yeah, I mean,
to kind of at least get these numbers down, anyways.
Right. I'm all for having people prepared. You know what I mean? Like if you give people the right information, let them process that.
Yeah.
However that's going to be. Our boy Rich Davio from back in the day.
Right.
He got it bad. So we know it's real. I mean, what a warrior that kid is, man.
On a Monday, he's got it. He meant I lived a Friday. That was in, I don't know, was it May or June?
Yeah.
We're talking September, October coming up.
80 days. He was on
he's doing his thing.
ICU on a ventilator, and his organs were failing every now and then. And boy, I've been telling you, if anything could have went wrong, it did for him. And then he bounced back like a warrior, man. Talking about a warrior mentality.
Yeah.
That's another terminology I like to use every now and then as the inner warrior.
Yeah, absolutely.
What he had to do mentally, and then what he has to do now.
Yeah, and think about what we were talking about earlier with our kids. He's got kids. He's got a family.
Yep.
He's thinking in his head, you're not stopping me. You're not gonna stop me from. I have to. I gotta dance with my daughters. I gotta, rides. I gotta get on another ride.
Yep.
I gotta make some food. All the stuff that he loves doing, and he's thinking in his head, like mentally, like, no, you're not gonna get me, man.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. Rich is tough.
He's
guys
tough,
don't know Rich. Rich is tough.
Yeah, he's always been even back when we were kids, he's always a nice guy. And the video that they put up of him trying to walk for the first time.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you, that brought me to tears because the pain in his eyes and his face that that warrior mentality, man.
Yeah.
She's like, you can sit down anytime you want. He's like, nope. I'm gonna take these steps.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know, a little while later we saw him walking the halls.
Yeah.
And that smile that he's got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I guess why we're talking about is talking about Wayne, his cousin.
Yeah.
That's our boy from back in the day,
Yes.
Wayne Constantine.
Yes. Right down the street, growing up.
Yep. Another great guy. So I'm gonna go to the benefit
At Frontera.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frontera Grill. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna do that. You know, and again, I haven't seen Rich since high school, but you know what?
Shoot.
Put the bat signal up. We're there. You know, and Wayne will tell you. There's a bunch of us that when we need something,
right,
we're gonna go take care of that.
But then also again, what you said in the beginning about family. You know, it's the circle. It's everybody's tight. Everybody's close. Like this is, like you just said, man. This is what we do, man.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yep.
You know, so it's gotta come back to that. At some point, it's just this is what we do. We all look out for each other, man.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah, and I think, you know, people really need to like this whole right left thing right now. You know, it's just crazy. Like I'm very political, you know that.
Yeah.
I eat, sleep, and breathe politics, but I come from a different place. I think I come from a place where, you know, so I'm independent. I was a Democrat for years. Left that party a couple of years ago, but I think you can like certain things from somebody.
Right.
I certainly would never stop being someone's friend because of where they are.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I just think those conversations just don't happen enough.
Right.
And you know, you look on Facebook, man, and it's just one hate thing after another, and people are fighting it out. And I'm just, you know, I'd rather bring those people here.
Yeah.
And have that face-to-face conversation than being a keyboard warrior.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I like that. I'm stealing that one.
You know what I mean? Because people are real tough when they're behind the keyboard, you know. But when we get down, I think most people have more things in common than they think they do.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk it out and get down to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We just have a different way of getting there, right? So, you know, I think that's one of my passions is going to be with this, you know, and we could have some just off the wall conversations. Like me and Justin were talking just a little while ago. We're going to do a conspiracy theory one. We're going to, you know, that's just fun. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Well, you know, it's crazy. So we have to do with all this. Did you see that the Pentagon said that they have off-world vehicles that they've recovered that are not of this world? Yeah, bring it on, man. I want that 3-headed alien to come out, you know, with the
Jesse Ventura's not doing the show.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Oh man.
Take me away like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, man. I'll go for that ride.
I know you will.
I'm not scared.
I know you will, man.
I'll take the anal probe. Doesn't bother me. I'm going, man. You know what I mean?
That's where I stop. That's it.
But I mean, it's just another thing. Like, what more could we possibly go through this year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Seriously.
And all right. So, favorite group growing up.
Favorite
singer, rapper, doesn't matter who it is. Number one.
Ouch.
Give me your top three.
Well, favorite singer growing up, I gotta go with MJ on that. I mean, I lose my black card if I didn't put that one in there. MJ is there.
Yeah.
Group.
Can be solo too.
Damn. Well, group. Man, you're killing me right now. Cause I'm a music guy.
I know.
Man.
That's why I'm asking, man.
This is. And the thing is like this. Okay, I'm not gonna change the subject too much, but how we grew up. Rap just started. Our MTV was literally all rock and roll and a couple of Run DMC videos and a Michael Jackson Beat It video every 5 times.
Yep.
So there's a lot going through my head right now, but I'm damn man. Why you gotta all right. Growing up, I'm definitely gonna say New Edition.
Yeah.
Was a group. Michael, buddy of mine asked me the other day, best female musician. That was gonna be my next question. Growing up. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, watching Madonna and that like a version, MTV Awards, growing up as a youngin. Oh man, I'm gonna female. I'm gonna have to go with Madonna, man.
Wow.
Like just how she did her thing, changed the game, changed how videos go, music, didn't care, controversial, like
Just did her thing.
got me, whatever.
Yep.
So, what you got?
Crawling on the ground and stuff. So number one rap, Big Daddy Kane.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Right?
Well, growing up, I'm thinking pre-teens.
So like high school, like so right out of high school.
Okay.
So for me, rap was huge, man. When rap first came out, I was like, what is this? Like this is insane. And
I'm gonna get you in a couple of minutes, but keep
okay.
going.
Public Enemy.
Yep.
Number
that's
2.
Gonna be part of my topic.
Yeah. Got it. 3. I was a big Guy fan.
See, man, now
because Aaron Hall.
You're going Bellamy days. Now
I was. It was right in the high school, right in the freshman year, kind of.
Yeah.
Because
88 was Slick Rick, Big Daddy Kane, BDP, EPMD. I mean, Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, Symphony, and I mean, It's a Big Daddy thing playing in the car right now.
Yeah,
man.
but the Tribe, that was one of my
Tribe, De La Soul.
Yep.
I mean, keep going on and on. Funny thing about PE. So, and you brought up Bellamy earlier. So I'm gonna throw his name out there because this is actually a dude that put me on. Paul Giannakopoulos. Don't know if you
doesn't
remember
ring a bell.
him.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I remember him coming up to me. I mean, Paul Giannakopoulos. That ain't Malcolm Jenkins. That's Paul Giannakopoulos.
Yeah.
Comes up to me and says, yo, you gotta hear this new group, all this stuff. I'm like, what you got? He's like, oh, this group, like there's got this weird guy. He freaking dances with his hat to the side. He's got a clock and all this stuff. Like, you're not selling me. You're not selling me yet, man. Like, you gotta give me something. And he played for me, Yo Burmeister Show by PE. And I'm sitting here thinking, first of all, why hasn't anybody else told me about this? And he was the first one to put me on PE. Then, same dude, because we had a lot of classes together at Bellamy, tells me about, there's this group, NWA.
Yep.
And he didn't say what it meant. He just said NWA. He was smart. He said NWA. And he's like, oh, they got these, they're swearing and all this stuff. And
it was pretty hardcore.
Right.
Especially for what we were used to.
Yeah, and you think back then to what's going on right now, like, that was, I mean, we have to listen to that in the basement and be like,
yeah. You don't go around blaring out in the car.
Listen to that, Same thing is he put me on PE and NWA.
Yep.
And I was playing them, I'm listening, and I'm thinking, like, damn, like, this dude knows what's up, man. Yeah. And then from there on out, I mean, that's 86, 87, 88. Yeah, my brothers had, Run DMCs. And
I wasn't a big Run DMC fan. I tried. I just couldn't.
Early stuff, I mean, yeah, I could have went with that with the group, but I think, like, even to this day, I'm still like smooth. It was more, like I said, you think about when we grew up, rap just started. It's not like right now where you could turn on anything and you got rap.
Yeah.
When we had it, it was, you had 5 songs.
Right.
And I'm not even talking about Rapper's Delight. Like, you had other songs and 4 of them weren't even good.
Right. I remember coming home and just kicking an MTV on. Yeah. And it would just be on for the whole day. Like, that was our thing.
I'll be honest. We were the last ones to have cable.
Oh, man.
In the neighborhood. So that I had to go, like, to your guys' house and cable stuff.
We were probably just stealing it from the neighbor.
But to understand, yes. Like watching all those when they had videos.
Yeah.
And when they had stuff going on. Yeah, man. Like, that was... But you got to think about it, like, how things have changed. Like, how when rap first came out, everybody's, oh my God, even my parents, like, oh, what you listening to? You listen to that stuff, listen to some R&B, listen to some funk, listen to some George Clinton and all that stuff. But then you see it change. Then you see, like you said, Two Live Crew and NWA. Oh, these guys are swearing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, they swore on the record. There's a label on it.
Right? Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was the label on the record.
I think the first time I tried to buy a Two Live Crew CD, I couldn't.
Right? Because you had to be,
it wasn't old enough. Yeah.
And you look at how things have changed with music. And, like I brought up Madonna earlier. Like, you look at how the videos were.
Right.
How controversial. Oh, she's rolling around with her dress on. And I'm like, oh, look at the stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
This is nothing. That was nothing compared to what we did. Yeah.
And that's the other part is look how things have evolved. How everybody relates. Growing up again. If you heard a rap song in a commercial, everybody was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They just played a rap song in that Fruity Pebbles commercial.
Right.
Or freaking Fred and Barney are rapping in the thing. And then all of a sudden now, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing, man.
Yeah.
So it's things change, world changes, the world adapts.
Yep.
And that's the other part of it, man, is you talk about left, talk about right, black, white, music, like everybody adapts to it all.
Yeah.
I hear, the warm up music, my teams play. I'm sitting there like this, I'm like, okay, like that's what you guys got, And then I think about what we had growing up is warm up music, and I'm sitting there like, I'm not coming in the locker room just yet.
Right. It's amazing, like too, with music, like. I remember some of our best times were just sitting around kicking some music on and then, talking about girls and, even girls back then, like we had to work at that stuff, man. Like not like now with Tinder and all this stuff. We had to work. Like we had to formulate a plan.
It's all different now.
We had to write stuff down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you had to go out there, especially with the clubs.
Yeah.
You had to really dig deep sometimes and go up to somebody with knowing that you might get shot down.
Yeah. Everything is very easy. Obviously with social media, with how, somebody could post something at wherever they are.
Right.
It could be, 7:00. Hey, I'm at this place, taking a picture. This is what I'm wearing. You already know if you're supposed to go meet this person,
right?
What they're wearing, what they look like, who they're with, where they're at, what they're drinking, what they're eating, all that stuff. Back then, you didn't know any of that stuff.
No.
No.
You didn't even know if that girl was going to show up to the club or not. You were, in there constantly looking around.
And it's instant. Again, you could be right at the door. Hey, I'm at the door. I'm about to walk in.
Right.
Back then, you be sitting there waiting like, she still ain't here yet. You guys ready to go? She ain't here. We gotta leave. And
going home and using that landline.
Yeah, everybody
hoping that she wasn't for like
or
long distance.
Doing that, man.
That's funny, man. Yeah, we had to work at it. I remember. I'll never forget. I had to get I was up for my driver's license, so I went down to the registry that day, and I blew. Well, I want to say I blew a yellow light. I went through a yellow light.
You blew a yellow light.
I did.
You can say it.
Dried and dirty.
Just
as
old.
Okay, we'll keep going.
It's dying.
What is?
This one.
Okay. Real quick. So we had to be at a party that night, and it was my responsibility to make sure that I got my driver's license. And thank God that she told me to go in there and get a book.
Yeah.
Of the rules and go ahead and read that. I'll be back.
Right.
She made me wait because we had state troopers back then that used to do our thing.
Yeah.
So here we are. I'm waiting for everybody to get done, get my license. Then I walked home from there, from the registry all back. That's a long walk where I lived, and when we did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was fun though. It was. I wouldn't. I'd like to go back and relive that one more time.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely
just how it was too.
There's definitely times you think about it and you say, hey, if we go back and do this one more time, we go hang out one more time. We go hang out at Chris's house, one more time, or
shout out to Chris Bordeaux.
All pile
and Jerry Bordeaux for going away on vacation every
weekend. Every weekend, and pile up in the back of Chris's. What was it, a brown Camaro? Is that what it was?
Well, he had the Camaro for a while.
Yeah.
Then he had a Mustang.
He had the Mustang, and all pile up in the back seat, and and hang out, but that was our growing up, and looking out for each other, and it didn't matter, black, white, music. We all had fun.
Yeah, we did.
All had a good time.
Yep.
Man, and it's a lot of stuff, man. People are missing. Nowadays, man.
Yeah.
It's you're talking about people on Facebook posting stuff and bashing and whether it's politics and sports or schools and all these different things. It's like a lot of these people that are posting all these things, and they'll say different things. Again, if we sat right here, or if you met them at a certain place, would you be saying the same thing?
Right.
It's almost like I say the same thing about Red Sox, Yankees fans. All these Red Sox fans talk about Yankees. Well, if you were down in New York, would you be saying the same? If you were in the middle of Times Square, would you be saying the exact same thing about the Yankees? Yeah. No. And it's the same thing about all these Facebook posts. Like, if you were around the opposite people, would you still be saying the same things? But like you said, I'm taking that keyboard warrior. It's easy to do that stuff, man.
Yep.
And that's the part that stinks, man.
Yeah. People just gotta learn to keep respecting each other. It's not easy. People have to work at it. Right.
And people gotta educate. You said the big thing in the beginning about communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on a few like diversity committees, with everything that's been going on right now. But I keep stressing the fact that people need to communicate and also educate.
Right.
And that's two big things.
Sure is.
Talk about it. Bring it up. It might be uncomfortable, but once you get an understanding of why and what and all these different things, and people may not get it at first or understand it at first, but you communicate it.
Yep.
You might educate somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, I get it now. Maybe that's why this, or that's why that, or that's why whatever." But that's the key point, man.
Yeah, I definitely have changed my views on a few things as I got older.
Yeah.
Based on having conversations with people, and I'm like, you got a great point there, because I'm fascinated with how people get to where they get, right?
Yeah.
Not they're there. I want to know how they got there. Was it their parents that did it? Was there something happened in their childhood, whatever that is? But we get to that same spot, and I'm very curious to know how you got there.
Yeah.
And then, that helps the conversation. Like I said, at the end of the day, we might not agree, and that's perfectly okay.
Right.
But with that being said,
at
least two people sat down, had a great conversation, and hopefully we can take those conversations out into the public and continue to have that have that talk. So, all right, man, I think we're running out of battery juice. I love you, man.
I love you, brother.
Thank you for being my
always
first guest.
Always will, man.
You're definitely coming back soon.
We've been there since day one. We will keep being there. I appreciate it. I'm loving what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I'm really psyched on it. When I first put it out there, people were like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing," and the support I got was what drove me to be here. Like, it took me a lot of time to do this and a lot of money, and a lot of stuff I don't know how to do. Like, so after this, I got to learn how to edit, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I have people who are ready to help. And God, this stuff is so bubbly. And we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
remember what I said in the beginning, man. Show me your circle. Show your future. Surround your people. Surround yourself with some good people. Research. Internet, everything, technology, all this stuff, man. You got this, man.
And I got it with support from people like you, man. So, from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, you pay well. I expect that check to come in the mail. I appreciate that.
Coming soon. Like, hopefully one day if I can be gifted like Joe Rogan. I mean, I'm definitely I'm not as handsome as he is.
That's your boy, man.
That is my boy.
Yeah.
Me and him go way back. He just doesn't know it yet.
Hey.
The first time I met him, real quick before we run out of juice, I met him at the at the Pike rest stop in the men's bathroom
Well,
a long time ago.
I saw there's something about Mary. You know what they say about rest stops on the highway.
And I walked right next to him in the bathroom. And I go, wait a minute, that's Joe Rogan, and I can't say hi to him because we're in the men's bathroom. So I lost my opportunity to say hi to him.
I mean, you still could have. It might be a little awkward, but you know.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
Man.
All right, man. We're gonna shut this down. I love you very much, and thank you
brother.
again for being my first guest, and we'll have you on shortly.
I appreciate it.
I always
man.
have an extra chair, so and actually I have another option to have a fourth chair, so shortly that will probably happen.
Hey, anything I can do, love it. Love what you're doing, man. I mean, I appreciate the invite and like keep doing it, man. Seriously.
I'm not scared.
Seriously, keep doing it, man. There's not a mic you did not like.
That is absolutely true.
There's not a mic you never liked.
That's true. That's true. All right, brother. Thanks, man. I love you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, YouTube. Thanks all my fans out there that gave me the opportunity to do this and the support. So hopefully I'll be doing one of these a week.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah.
But definitely once every 2 weeks for sure. So, all right.
Keep doing it.
We're out.
Cashews, everything around me.